So now that we kind of have an understanding, a little bit of what a mole is, hopefully we've watched the other videos, we have an idea of what a mole is, we are starting to understand how we can start converting between grams and moles, okay? This is going to be a really important piece, okay? So converting between grams and moles, right, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this first question and I'm going to give myself a little bit more space and I'm going to write it down here. If I have 25 grams of NaCl, what I can do is I can say, okay, NaCl, I can go and look on my periodic table and look and say, okay, Na, the atomic mass of Na is 22.99. So Na, 22.99 grams per mole. But my compound here has one sodium atom and one chlorine atom, right? So if we have a formula here, right, really the subscripts on these two are both 1, so we can kind of ignore them. So I have one sodium atom, one chlorine atom. So I need to add my chlorine mass on here as well. So if I go look, chlorine, the molar mass for a chlorine atom is 35.45. So I'm going to add 35.45 grams per mole. And I'm going to write this is Na and this is Cl. So when I add those two together, 22.99 plus 35.45, I get 58.44 grams of NaCl per 1 mole of NaCl. So if I have done this conversion here, now if I have calculated here my molar mass of NaCl, now I can convert between grams of NaCl and moles of NaCl. So what I need to do is I need to put a conversion bracket on here, and my conversion bracket, I need to get grams to cancel out, and I need moles left over on top. So I'm going to put grams of NaCl on here, and I'm going to put moles of NaCl on top. Now I know that my grams of NaCl is going to cancel with grams of NaCl, and my moles of NaCl is going to be left over. But what do I do with my numbers? I had 58.44 grams. So I have to put 58.44 grams of NaCl on here and 1 mole up top. So what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to do 25 times 1, I don't really care, and then divided by 58.44. If I do that, I should get 0.428. And then I got to look at my units. I'm going to say, okay, that grams of NaCl is canceling with that grams of NaCl, and what I'm going to have left over is 0.428 moles of NaCl, because I've got my moles of NaCl left over. Okay? So there's that first question there. Hopefully you can use the same method for the rest of these. Okay? Something that will become important, this H2SO4, that means that I have 2 hydrogens and I have 4 oxygens. So the subscript that comes after the element tells me how many I have of that element in my compound. Okay? And I would, of course, then have 1 sulfur. So H2S1O4. Okay? Now, here we're essentially going backwards. But we have moles, we're trying to get to grams, but we have our compound again. So we again have a conversion factor already to go from moles to grams. It's like, okay, so try and do these ones rather than, we're going to end up with something like 2.5 moles of NaCl times 58.44 grams of NaCl per 1 mole of NaCl. Okay, so here, again, we cancel our units, and we're going to be left with grams of NaCl left over. Okay? All right, let's look at the next section here. Okay, my next section, I'm going to flip this over a little bit so I can get some more space. Now we're going to how many molecules are in the quantities below. So this is where we need to remember that 1 mole is equal to 6.02 times 10 to the 23rd things, right? It can be atoms, it could be donuts, it can be jelly beans, it could be molecules. Okay? So if I have 2 moles of NaCl, I know that my conversion is that 1 mole of NaCl, right? We're going to cancel our units, is 6.02 times 10 to the 23rd molecules of NaCl. Okay? So when we want to convert to molecules, right, we need to use Avogadro's number. Okay? So if I do that, that should be like 1.2 times 10 to the 24th molecules of NaCl. Okay? And we can, of course, then go to atoms. Okay? So our last piece, I'm going to, again, kind of move this sheet of paper around so that I give me some space to work with. Atoms of Na, or actually, let's do atoms of H in 5 grams of H2SO4. If I have 5 grams of H2SO4, do I know how many atoms of hydrogen I have in there? No. I have no way to convert between grams and atoms, but I do have a way to convert between grams and moles, and then I can convert between moles and molecules, and then molecules to atoms. Okay, so I'm going to need multiple conversion factors here. All right, so first I need to go to moles. Moles is our central area where we can always convert to moles, and we can always then convert from moles to our other pieces. All right, so we always, almost always, we're going to convert to moles first. Okay, so I know I'm going to start. I want to get 1 mole of H2SO4. My H2SO4, I need to get my molar mass. So I'm going to do 2 times the molar mass of hydrogen, that's 1.008, plus sulfur, which is 32.06, right? So that's hydrogen, that's sulfur. Now I need to get oxygen. Oxygen is 16, but I have 4 of them. So 4 times 16.00, that's my oxygen. That's going to give me 98.068 grams of H2SO4 per 1 mole of H2SO4. Okay, so I'm going to put that 98.068 grams of H2SO4 on here. Now, right, if I look, I've canceled my grams of H2SO4. Now I have moles of H2SO4. So then I'm going to put my next conversion factor on here. My next conversion factor, I'm going to go from 1 mole of H2SO4 is 6.02 times 10 to the 23rd. I'm going to do M/C. to represent molecules here. So my 6.02 times 10 to the 23rd molecules of H2SO4. And then my last piece is that I need to get to atoms of hydrogen. How many atoms of hydrogen do I have in an H2SO4? Well, I have, right, for one molecule of H2SO4, I have 2 atoms of hydrogen. So here now we see that my grams of H2SO4 canceled with grams of H2SO4 here to get me to moles. My moles of H2SO4 canceled with moles of H2SO4 to get me to molecules. And then my molecules of H2SO4 canceled with molecules of H2SO4, and I got to 2 atoms. All right, so if I do this multiplication, I would do 5 divided by 98.068 times 6.02 times 10 to the 23rd times 2, I should get my answer. So now we should be able to do this whole worksheet.